Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching this. If you're watching it live, I'm doing it on a different day for a number of reasons. I'm Deborah Roth from Spirited Living, and back again to explore how we all hold, how we all embody the divine feminine, regardless of gender, regardless of our upbringing or our spiritual beliefs. The divine feminine is simply about honoring those traits that represent compassion, sensitivity, honoring our intuition, honoring our emotions, celebrating nature, celebrating our bodies. Just a few of the divinely feminine qualities I love to highlight here, and probably do it every week because you may not be watching all these videos. So I invite you, if you are enjoying or will enjoy what you're going to hear and see today, to subscribe to me on YouTube and to just come back and let me know what you think. So what we do in this space is really acknowledge that we all have that capacity. We all have the capacity in this very, sadly, still imbalanced world, still very patriarchal world, to embrace our right brain gifts of intuition, of creativity, of our emotional expression, our emotional intelligence. Equally as important, certainly, as our left brain strategizing and rational and logical gifts that we have. However, in this world that we live in now, that tends to be celebrated more. So what I'm attempting to do here in my small way is to really bring some balance back to that. So one of the ways that I love doing that, I do my new moon circles every month for women, which are wonderful. Another one coming up the first week in December, something like that. But it's doing these videos. And I always learn. I have to say, some goddesses I know more than others. I've been doing this for a long time. I just went down the most delightful rabbit hole learning about the goddess and the celebration, the festival that I'm going to share with you today. And that is the Hawaiian festival of Makahiki. I want to make sure I'm saying that right. I might flip around some of the adjectives, but it is Makahiki. And it's actually a 4-month festival. It's the Hawaiian New Year. And it typically begins mid-November and runs until, through February. And there are so many celebrations associated with it, and the god that it's associated with, and then by extension, the goddess that I'm going to bring in, the god is Lono, who is the god of fertility and vegetation, and, you may hear New York City noises in the background, somebody walking by my window. He's peace and agriculture, and his wife is Laka, who is best known probably as being the goddess of the Hula. She is the one that brought Hula to humanity. And she has many faces as well, and we'll talk about that also. So what happens during this festival is that offerings are made of food, of animals, of all kinds of things to Lono, and offerings of dance to really acknowledge his wife Laka, because that is her gift, and through that gift, Hula. I wish I knew much more about it, but what I do know and what I've learned is that it's a storytelling form of dance, ancient and very sacred to the Hawaiian people. And because of that, because it's about telling stories, this is really a wonderful time. So here's your takeaway. Here are the questions to ask yourself as you relate, as you get to know Laka, as I have, as I'm getting so much more to learn, is to think about what are your gifts that you have taken on from, or that you've been gifted from your own ancestors, from your family. Whether it's arts, crafts, singing, to celebrate those things that have been passed on, your legacy that have been passed on through your family. And then likewise, how you can continue to pass those on. So hold that as a thought as I tell you a little bit more about this, about this very ancient time and this very ancient special festival, very long festival. Harvest, sports, play. And hula is an integral part really of any celebration in Hawaii, because it is a sacred form of ritual. It's a way to worship. It's a spiritual practice and a discipline. And the spirit of Laka, it's believed, flows through the dancers so that the dancers become one with Laka and her sacred energy. So hula looks like it's a beautiful dance, but it does tell a story. It's very evocative in that way. Her colors are said to be yellow. I own no yellow. The closest I could get was gold. So I've got my gold earrings on. And leopard for the wildlife, and woodlands that are, although I don't think there are any leopards in Hawaii, just because that's what I was wearing today. I don't have a lei. I used to have a lei, which is the necklace made of maili, I think they're called, flowers. So there's my lei. I'm sorry, there's my flower crown, which is also part of the hula dance. And just to give you one of the images that I found of Laka, here she is, both shown with a flower crown, with several leis, but also in her, and hula, with her hula skirt, but also in her environment as the goddess of the woodlands, the goddess of vegetation and fertility. She's also, because she is Loka's wife, Lono's wife, she's also the goddess of rain and light, which combines with his gift with vegetation and with the woodlands and to create fertility, to create new growth all around us. So I kind of went back and forth whether I should be, I'll share a chant with you in a little bit, whether I should go kind of the ancestor direction, which is one of the ways that I mentioned a few minutes ago, that you can use this energy. And remember, all of these goddesses that I introduce you to or give you more information about, yes, many of them are associated with the time of year that I happen to be doing this, and in this case the Makahiki festival, which starts mid-November, which is when I'm recording this originally. But all of these goddesses, and that's the whole point of tapping into our inner goddess team, of tapping into the divine feminine. We can call on, once you become familiar with these and, jot down the ones that you most resonate with, we can call on them whenever we need reminders, whenever we need support or healing or guidance or in whatever way, because they represent an energy that exists within all of us. It is the essence. We carry all of these qualities within us, and it's. I love to activate them kind of anthropomorphically by imagining that there is this divinely feminine being within me that represents the best of who I am, and that I can call on, in this case, to honor my connection to my ancestors, to the legacy, which is hula is one of the ways that we tell the stories, that stories are passed on to future generations through the hula, and in our case, through journaling, through writing your stories, writing a memoir. During this time of Makahiki, maybe think about writing some things down for your children or grandchildren. My husband, a couple years ago, really started to get into this mode of he's had a very interesting life, and writing down all of his memories from his early years, and he's pushing 80, so there are a lot of memories there. But think about, and our sons, and ultimately, our grandchildren, our granddaughters, and whoever else is going to come along. It's such a gift. My mom is doing the same thing. If you don't know it, a way to really bring that familial, that ancestral connection together is to get your parents or grandparents to go to Storyworth And there they're presented with questions every week that they can write on. They don't have to do it every week, but it's a way to really capture their what their stories are and what they're passing on to us through their memories. Hi, Mary, great to see you. So think about those. Use this energy of Laka. I'm going to look to see what else I want to tell you about her. She, let's see, she kind of suggested that you talk to family members. And you know, in the U.S. right now, we're coming up to Thanksgiving, which is a time when families gather, and many of us are actually able to gather live this year. However you gather with people, with members of your family, that's a great time to exchange stories. When I see my granddaughter, which I do almost every week, she always asks me, Mommy or Grammy, tell me a story of when you were little. And so I'm kind of running out of stories, but that's how we keep these gifts alive. So think about doing that in both directions. You know, invite your kids to write down their thoughts. Anyone that is maybe not your biological family, but that you've created a deep family connection with. So part of the mythology of Lono, the god of fertility, and we're celebrating their new year with this Makahiki celebration, is that he rode a rainbow down to earth in order to marry Laka. And then combined with his fertility, with her light and rain, they were able to create beautiful vegetation all over Hawaii. And there's also, I thought this was interesting, there's a cherry blossom festival that happens during this period, during this time of Makahiki. It actually happens in January and February. It's also kind of a couple-month thing. And it's specifically to honor those of Japanese ancestry in Hawaii, of which there are many. They participate in the martial arts, they dance, they weave. So that's yet another reminder. If you can get to Hawaii during January, February, maybe participate in this cherry blossom festival. It's in Hawaii, it's not in Japan, but it's honoring those of Japanese descent there. Let's see, anything else I want to tell you about Laka, who is quite extraordinary. Goddess of wildwoods and overall vegetation. Let's see. Oh, so her name means gentle, docile, attracted to, or to attract. So there are some that call her the goddess of love, the Hawaiian goddess of love. And there are some chants out there asking Laka to attract not only love but wealth, which is, you know, a great thing to do on the New Year, on this Hawaiian New Year. I will not even attempt to sing in any of the Hawaiian dialects. But what I thought I would do, what I'll end with, is leave you with this chant that has always resonated with me as a way to honor our connection with those that came before us, and then writing our stories down for those who will come after us. And it goes like this. We are an old people, we are a new people, we are the same people deeper than before. We are an old people, we are a new people, we are the same people deeper than before. We are an old people, we are a new people, we are the same people deeper than before. So it's recognizing all of the gifts that our ancestors have bestowed on us, our legacy, their legacy to us, and how we continue that on to those that come after us. So a wonderful way to take in the energy of Laka, of the Hula, and think about how you want to engage in really writing your memoirs down, and writing your maybe going to ancestry.com and finding out what your ancestry is. Thank you so much for journeying with me in this relatively new place for me in this Hawaiian festival, in the story of Laka. I'd love to hear your stories. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you back here next time. Namaste.